Come on, I'm going to say it like the old folk. You say, we trying to get all of our ducks in a row before we move. And then after we moved, the ducks was in a row, but nothing happened. See, it's better to move on God's timing with your ducks out of line than to think you know more than God. Notice this. He who guards his mouth, or we could say, she who guards her mouth, because he ain't just talking to no male. Am I right about it? He ain't just speaking to males. So we could say he or she who guards their mouth preserves their life. But he who opens wide his or her lips shall have destruction, ruin, or death. So basically, we have a choice. We have a choice. We can guard our mouth, and by doing so, we'll preserve our life. Or we can open wide our lips or our mouth, or we don't have to guard our mouth, and we're going to have destruction. And I don't know about you, but I don't want destruction. I don't want death. I don't want ruin. Listen to me, when I don't have to have it. Now, eventually, we all going to die in some way or another. But I don't want to die before my time. Oh, I don't want to die before my time. I love living. I love myself some living. Right? At this present moment, I'd rather be right here than 6 feet deep. I'm just going to tell you that. Right? But see, what I want to do when I look at life, I don't want to just look at existence. I don't want to just think about existing. But see, I want to think about living life according to the Greek word zoe. That means I want to live according as God has ordained for me to live. And so I want to live or exist, but I want to do so in the will of God. That's how I want to do. And so when I know God is blessing me, when I know I'm in the will of God, when I know I'm living life the way he intended for me to live it, then I want to guard my mouth so that I can preserve that way of living. So I can keep living the way that I'm living. Are y'all with me? But if it is to happen, I got to guard my mouth. Because it's not enough just to say, well, Pastor, I don't want to be in ruin, but you're not guarding your mouth. You're not doing the things you need to do so that your life won't be in ruin. Now listen to me, because there are folk who have plenty of money, but their life is in ruin. Their life is in ruin, right? There are folk live in big houses, big nice houses, but their life is in ruin. They're experiencing destruction. And so basically there's no control there. He's not guarding it. He's not keeping watch over it. This person in the text is not being careful when it comes to what he or she is saying. And how many know when we talk, we have to be careful to the point to where we recognize that there are consequences for what I say. There are consequences for how I talk. Am I right about that? There are some consequences, right? Some of us don't act like you don't know. You know there are consequences for what you say when you're not careful with how you use this tongue. Things can come back to bite you because of what you said. What you allowed to come out of your mouth hurt you. Am I right? Okay. And listen, it's no need to speak foolishly when you are taught better. It's one thing to speak foolishly or talk like a fool when you know you haven't been taught. Come on. When you can say, look, I don't know no better. Okay, you don't know. But once you learn, come on, now it's time to stop speaking foolishly. Why? Because I've been taught that what I say matters. What I say matters. So I'm going to guard my mouth And make sure I don't utter anything that God deems to be foolish, because now I know better. I need to guard my mouth so that what I say, listen very carefully, doesn't go against what God has said. Did you hear me? I need to guard my mouth. I don't want to open my mouth wide. I don't want to open my mouth and now I'm saying the opposite of what God said. God said I'm healed. But I keep confessing about a little headache that my head is killing me. You need to watch your mouth. You need to be careful of your words. Come on. And we can even get mature enough to where even in an emergency type situation, we still gonna guard our mouth. Still got to be careful what I say. Don't really know in totality what's all happening right here in this situation, but I'm not going to speak foolishly. Right? I'm not going to open my mouth and speak death over myself. Now, there are times that we use our mouth to speak death, but we do so to things that are deserving of death. Like whatever the enemy's plotting, whatever my enemies desire to do that I know contrary to God's will, I'm going to speak death to what my enemy want to do. Come on, somebody. When a situation is happening in my life that's trying to do the opposite of what God told me it was a season for things to be done, now I got to use my mouth to speak death to whatever is trying to disrupt the season God just dropped me in. Come on, because he'll drop you in a season. I said he'll drop you in a season, and then things will show up trying to pull you out of the season he just dropped you in. So whatever is coming contrary to God's will, that's when we speak death. Because figuratively, death simply means the end. Right? Death figuratively means the end. So there are some things that can get to popping off in your life that God wants you to open up your mouth and speak death to this. Tell this thing to cease. Isn't that what Jesus was trying to teach the disciples on the boat? After he had told them, let us get in and go to the other side, and a storm arose. He was underneath asleep. They woke him panicking. They woke him afraid, saying to him, do you not care that we out here perishing? Do you not care that we about to die? Do you not care about this storm? He rebuked them for how they was acting. And then he told the storm, peace, be still. And then looked at them and wondered, where is your faith? How is it that you have no faith in the storm? How is it that you can be with me, yet you think something bad is going to happen to you? Woo! And tell you, we ain't in no boat this morning, but God is with us, so why are we panicking? Right? If God is with you, it doesn't matter how big the storm is. I said it doesn't matter how big the storm is. What we got to learn to do is open up our mouth if he says so and speak against the storm. Tell the storm to what? Cease. Peace. Be still. Right? And the Bible said there was a great calm. So he was teaching them. He was teaching them in that moment. You know, y'all can use your mouth. Woo! You can use your mouth. Don't sit there and pull out your hair. Use your mouth. Don't sit there and go crazy. Use your. Don't just keep popping one pill after the other. Use your. Don't go on antidepressants and that ain't God's will. Use your mouth. But man, this stuff makes the difference right here. Knowing how to talk, knowing how to guard your mouth. Yeah, this makes a difference right here. Proverbs 15 in verse number 2. Notice Proverbs 15:2. Notice carefully. The tongue of the wise. See, remember earlier I talked about the difference it makes once you've been taught. Once you can consider yourself to be a learned individual. And that's really what you want to do. You don't want to have folk in your family and on your job thinking that you go to church all the time, but you're still ignorant as I don't know what. You don't want it to be, when it comes to your family, your coworkers, and your friends, that they know about you, that you faithful attending church, but your life doesn't exemplify that you listening and put it into action what's being taught. Right? And see, this is what this scripture has to do with. Notice it. He said the tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge how? Rightly. So if I'm using knowledge rightly and I'm being given knowledge of how to talk, knowledge in one sense is powerful. So when I learn how to talk right, that's powerful. Now all I got to do, since I've been taught, is to use wisely the knowledge that I have been given. That's all I got to do. This is a situation. This is an emergency, but I have been taught. So right now, I need to take this opportunity and use my tongue wisely. Notice again, the tongue of the wise uses knowledge how? Rightly. When you have been taught certain things and people put certain things before you, and you know that it doesn't look right, it's not in line with what you have been taught, you don't sign it. Come on. Even if they try to put that pressure on you at the call out, well, you know, this is the last one. I had a man tell me one time, you know, this for you. You know what I told him? I said, this for anybody who got the money. It ain't like it was, you know, I watch car shows sometimes. Now, sometimes they'll have a car up there going for $5.4 million. A car. Right? Now, that's only one kind, one of a kind. But I got old dumb salesman over here trying to tell me, oh, that one just for you. No, this for anybody that comes up here, and because I ain't the only one want this, right? So you don't let people get over on you like that. As soon as you look at the interest rate, so you already know, nah, I'm going to use my tongue wisely to say to this nice salesman, no thank you. You mean you just going to walk away? Yes, sir. I had a man try to give me a ridiculous interest rate years ago. And I told the man, I said, I was honest with him. I said, man, I teach my people better than this. I said, I ain't going to do this. And then he looked at me. He said, well, what you want then? You know, they'll talk to you like that when you get real with them. When you like, hey, I know you trying to make money. I know you know this a business. And what you want then? And I told him what I want. He said, oh, man, no. He said, man, I own this car lot and can't get that kind of rate that you want on this used vehicle. I said, well, I'm going to have to leave then. Less than what? I want to say 3 weeks. I had that interest rate that he said was impossible. Come on, y'all better listen. I had that. The car he was going to give me didn't have a warranty. This car came with a warranty. Come on. And I told Donna when I got it, I said, I feel like driving by there and just saying to him, hey, you, come here. Come here. But my attitude, I wouldn't it wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been right. You see. And God was like, you ain't got to do that. But see, I started learning. And y'all better listen. You don't let people put pressure on you to the point to where they trying to steal what you've been taught. No, you're going to apply all the pressure you think you need to, but you ain't dealing with no fool. You're dealing with a wise person, and I've been taught, and that interest rate gets you a no. Right? This is important. Now, some of you going to slip. And if we used to say back in the day, and you're going to get your head busted to the white meat. Don't do that. Don't do it. Just sit here and listen. I told you you're going to be like a Bible study. Just sit here and listen. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly, but the mouth of fools pours forth what? Foolishness.